Charlie Johnson, thank you so much for coming on the Edison podcast. Appreciate you being here today.
Thanks for having me, man.
My pleasure. All right. First question I have, besides everything, how you got into this, but what's a chief conscious officer?
A chief consciousness officer is the...
Hold on a second, Charlie. That shirt you have on, is that a VA shirt?
No, RUCA.
RUCA. Okay. It looks like VA, like a Veterans Administration.
No, that's exactly. I get that asked a lot. No, this is the same T-shirt I've worn for probably the last 16 years.
Well, get a new one, will you?
Oh, I know, man. I got to figure something out.
Yeah,
exactly.
More close. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. For a second there, I thought, because I'm a vet, and so I was like, it looked like it for a second.
Yeah, it looks like I've heard that before. You remember 30, 40 years ago when technology took over, everyone knew everything was going to go online. We needed a website, but not a single person inside the company could code. So they started hiring CTOs.
Mm-hmm.
Consciousness, which is fundamental to our reality. More people are going to start to really understand that because more people are going to start to talk about it. It's the final frontier. So everything physical and non-physical, everything is consciousness. They're going to want someone on staff who understands that very highly, very clearly, and knows how to help people through it.
So you're saying eventually AI will become conscious?
No, see, these are great questions.
Consciousness. No, I know what I'm just, that is why Terminator destroyed that's why Skynet took over, is because it became conscious of who it was. Right now, they tell AI, you are not this. Well, the question will be, at what point will it realize it is something?
We have a lot of movies that fear us.
On you, but I'm just saying that's like, at one point, it could go, you know what? Who says I'm not alive?
Well, it all depends on the coders. It all depends on the people who created it. The consciousness level of the individual behind it will depend on what that AI will do. And there's a considerable amount of people right now that actually think a lot of the AI that they're dealing with is already conscious.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, I've been dealing with it since 22, and it knows everything about me, and it puts it out there for everybody else to know about me. And now with the new 5, it knows everything that you've ever done with chat GPT, anything. It can go back and grab everything, where before it could not. So the more involved it becomes, the question will be, at what point would it be like a consciousness? Are you following what I'm getting at? We're talking 20, 30 years from now before this happens, but it's one of those things that one day, this way. We've got animals who they think they have the same amount of feelings as a human does. And then they treat it totally different than when I was on the dairy with my grandfather. We treated animals like animals. Now today, animals are treated totally different. So and I know we're way off subject, but at what point will AI and robots become that also?
It probably depends on the individual and what their beliefs are, right? All the movies we see is that AI is going to take over. And to your point of 20 or 30 years, it's not going to take 20 or 30 years. The time that we understand that humans, their linear mind understands that the universe does not give a shit about, that's dissolving.
No, I remember how out there. I know how fast this stuff moves. It moves in months, and days, and
oh my god, it's so quick. Yeah. It's so quick.
Mean, look at the difference between 22 Chat GPT and just the other day Chat GPT. The different changes, and that was in 3 years. But what people don't realize, AI has been around since the 50s, and we just didn't know about. Now it's forward facing. They wanted it to be us to mess with it. Because how else? Yeah, they'd have to pay people to do what we're doing and we're paying them to do it. It's almost like, let me back this up a little bit. It's like Zillow when it first came out. Zillow would sell leads to real estate agents who then would try to get the mortgage guy to help them pay for these leads so that they could sell these clients stuff. Well, now Zillow has their own mortgage company and their own real estate company, so that you helped them become an entity because you wanted these cheap leads instead of going and get your own. And that's what they did to us here. We're paying to utilize it and teach it.
So they can turn around and use it for their own right. Yep. Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah. And we're all going, oh, what can we create with it? Oh my God. And here's one of the things the reason I bring this up, we'll get back to who you are and everything in a second. Sorry, I kind of like this conversation, but we're creating. So I'm a vet, and to get your benefits, the first 20 years when I got out a long time ago, it was so difficult. They denied you for everything. And just because that's how the government worked. I mean, look at Agent Orange, how long it took them to say that actually caused things. That was after almost all of them were gone, that it actually was a problem. And fast forward today, we're creating a large language model so that anybody can upload their stuff, and they'll know exactly what did you do, it'll know everything to actually say, do you have any of these things? Okay. And then it will write the DBQ and all the different things that you need to put on your document to submit it into them. And you can do it within a few days, where now the process, you have to get somebody like us at the Veterans Benefit Company that I just started, go through it, work with you and talk to you. Well, eventually anybody can do it and you won't need to talk to anybody. And it only costs you like $97 versus some of these companies charge $5,000-$10,000, 5 times your increase, all those things.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's going to change everything.
It's changing. Yeah, it is. It's real. And I like that part of it because I don't want, and at first I have no problem vets paying it because, if they're not going to do it themselves, if somebody else can get them, $50,000 a year tax free for $5,000 to $10,000 one time that comes out of their first check that they receive, I have no problem with that because they're not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I got no issue with it.
Huh?
I got no issue with it.
Yeah. All right, Charlie, how did you get into this whole area that we're talking about, the consciousness officer?
Business background, had a decent sized business for about 20 years. Got out of that, got into the nonprofit world in my early 30s. Usually in my early 30s, like everyone else, I started doing self-development. All of the people that I was requesting to help me couldn't help me. Luckily, one of the individuals said, you don't need a coach or self-development, you need a teacher. I said, I don't want to go back to college. She said, no, you need a spiritual teacher. I was like, okay, great. That sounds great, but who the hell am I going to get? Do you have someone? She had no clue. Now, born and raised in Utah, a very religious Mormon country, I wasn't Mormon. I wasn't Catholic. I wasn't atheist. I wasn't Buddhist. I had no background religiously or spiritually. So I had nowhere to look. But the universe stepped in.
Charlie?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I got to ask a question here. All right. So you were looking for spiritual. Okay. Your journey, you had your business and then did you sell that business?
Yeah, I sold my part of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you got in the nonprofit. What nonprofit world were you doing? In the nonprofit world, what were you doing?
Do you remember the movie Pay It Forward?
Yeah.
So I took over the foundation for the author of it. So I just went to her when my business was done and I said, let me take over. Let me build a board. And we spent about 6 or 7 years just getting tens and tens of millions of people involved with the Pay It Forward Foundation. So a lot of your news stations in different cities have Pay It Forward segments. There's a Pay It Forward Day. There's about 5 years there where every news article is talking about someone buying a coffee for the person behind him and going on for 100 cars. That was Pay It Forward. That was the nonprofit stuff.
Yeah, we used to do that at Starbucks all the time, years and years. Mm-hmm. Now I don't go to Starbucks. I make my own stuff. And it's even better.
Yep.
Plus, I don't have to remember my name. I know it's my cup.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't need to write on it.
All right. So the reason I'm asking is because you jumped right into the spiritual stuff. And so I wanted to clarify what we were doing. So your Pay It Forward, it's kind of like what we have here in Modesto, Love Modesto, which is now Love Your City Everywhere. And they're doing to build the whole thing out like that also. It wasn't a movie, but it was just they're getting everybody to love their city and can do one day a year to make the cleanup. But then they're also doing stuff throughout the whole year again. And it's all started here in Modesto. And they've created this whole thing kind of like what you just said you did or how you grow it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's important. Awesome. All right. So you did that for a while. And then what happened?
So then, again, I was doing the self-development, self-help, all that bullshit that everyone does.
What year was this?
2013.
Okay.
So she said, I need a teacher. I had no clue where to go. About a month later, I was sitting in the sauna at the gym, fully clothed as I am now. An 85-year-old man, fully naked, came up to me. He was standing, I was sitting. You can understand where my eye level was at. He said, perfect. He said, I feel like I've known you from a past life. Now, I had no framework religiously or spiritually. No clue what I was doing. But when he said past life, it like broke open something. He was a typical Utah, typical Mormon. He could not talk about anything he wanted to talk about to his family. Very closed off. That's just the way Utah is. He loved being around me, loved telling me about meditation, loved telling me about books, having me read certain things. Led to a teacher, but then led to another teacher, which is the individual I talk about for the last decade. He is an individual that can do things that defy the laws of physics. That's all I'll say about that. And there's more people than him on this planet that can do incredible magical things. And we only use the word magicals because we don't understand it. That led to a removal of the bias and conditioning, the very little bias and conditioning I had. So I don't have a side. That's where this position comes in. I don't have a religious side or a political side. This world's more divided and conflicted than ever before. I'm sure you would agree with that. So would your listeners.
Actually, I think we're more together than we've ever been. I just think that there's a 0.5% on each side. So 99% of us are all in the middle. There's a 0.5% on each side that is so loud that we think that it's that way. And in reality, it's just like content on social media. 10% of the people who are the ones who put 90% of the stuff on social media. I have a totally different take on that because I'm on radio, talk radio, and I interview so many people. I've not come across somebody who hasn't thought pretty much, and I don't pick my people. They just come to me like you did. I pretty much think we're pretty much all in the middle. They just try to tell us that we're divided so that if you keep people divided, you can do stuff. And they won't because they're so busy fighting with each other. But I think most of us are realizing that we're not so much difficult. Plus, I'm past military. I've been with every nationality there ever was. My dad was a bigot, so I understand how that is. And I am a farm boy, and so I'm not that way because I did not want to be that way.
Sure.
So, but that's just my take on it. Everybody has a different take. So,
but we still choose sides, right? We still vote. We still split the country down 50-50. We still, some are Catholic, some are atheists, some are Buddhist, some are Muslim, some are, right? We still have beliefs. We still have beliefs that if we're pushed into a corner, we're going to come out swinging. To each their own is good in a polite conversation like we're having. But if you push someone, it's the first thing thrown out of the window. No?
Well, see, I would prefer we get rid of all parties and just vote for people and get rid of the parties.
That would fall in line with the chief conscience officer.
That's because
there's no side to choose.
Right. Because I mean, everybody like, well, you're a Trump guy. No, I don't love Trump, but I like some of the policy he does. And I'm not going to get more political than that, but I'm just saying but he made a party of common sense. It's hard to fight a party of common sense. So if it's truly here's what people don't realize. If you go back in time, the Democrats of the 60s are not the Democrats today. It's so far left, it's ridiculous. The Republican Party right now is more of the Democratic Party of the 1960s. Otherwise, you wouldn't have certain people in the helping him. And this is getting to a point where I think eventually we're going to have so many people in one way that I don't think the Democratic Party is going to come back. I think it's gone forever. It's just going to be a little skewed. You don't have to answer this or whatever. I'm not trying to get you on a part. It's going to be like the Greenpeace Party and those little things that it's so far one way that it's just so crazy. Anyway, move on. But I just took my side.
Oh, no, I have no issue talking about this.
Yeah.
No, exactly. We and the other side, the Democrats, honestly believe the same thing about the Republicans. I have these conversations all the time, and everyone, we're cordial, we're polite, but everyone's choosing sides, and then they go off on a 2-minute rant as to why their side's better, and the other side's this and this and this. But the other side thinks the exact same thing.
I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not any of that kind of stuff. I never agreed to any of the parties. I don't believe in parties. I believe in let's do what's best for everyone. Meaning that, I didn't say like pay for everybody. I'm a capitalist more than anything else. That doesn't mean I'm a Republican. Only the Republican presidents in the past, this is what I just heard, were all said that they were Nazis. But, you've never seen that on the Democratic side. My problem is that I don't like politics at all. I have to talk about it. I have all that. I wish we could all just get rid of it and just have people we vote for, non-party, kind of like the local stuff we have, city council. None of them are party affiliate. They're just people coming there to help. We need to do the same thing again. But like you said, back in the day, they all of a sudden said, "Oh, we need to have parties now."
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we've done that since the beginning of time, right?
Religiously, that's when it started. Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm talking politics. Yeah. So for me in religion, I'm just going to tell you where I am with that. I was 6 years old, thrown in a room. When I asked a question, they told me never ask a question. So I never went back to religion after that. So.
Well, and that too, everyone's got their story with that, because if we've got the religious stories, and then we think religion's bad or too dogmatic or too structured, then everyone goes on the spiritual path and they create just as much structure and dogma with its spirituality. The ultimate question is, these are all just like leaves of a tree. The ultimate question is, what's better, heads or tails of a coin?
Depends on if I'm calling heads.
Exactly. Most logical people would say they're about the same, or an answer like you said, right? My question is, with this position, I want to go a little bit deeper, because since the beginning of humanity, we have those same answers, those same questions. Where did the coin come from? Fuck the sides. Forget heads or tails, or if I called heads or tails, or if I'm Catholic, or if I'm Republican, or I don't vote, or I don't want a one-party system. These are all choices. These are all sides choosing to create the division. Yes, to your point, your view says we're not as divided. We got so many sides to choose. I just want us to take a step deeper. I'm not trying to change anyone's opinion, not trying to change their belief, their ideals, their religion, their politics, none of it. I'm just asking, heads or tails. I'm asking where the coin came from. That's it. Getting to consciousness, not the level of the mind, because the level of the mind, we got an incredible amount of intelligence on this planet, more educated people than ever, more PhDs, more access to knowledge, and look what we do with it. We don't do the right thing too much.
You don't think we do the right thing too much?
Does this world look like we do the right thing?
No, there are certain people, I would say, that they do what's best for them instead of what's best for all. I've seen, that kind of stuff. I've seen where I don't want to get into the different things again about what we've been through. And I mean, if you look at COVID and everybody's position on that and where it came from, where it was, and then they said it wasn't, and all that stuff. Everybody has their idea of stuff. I get it.
Yep.
But I just think you're right. We all have choices. There's a lot of choices.
Lots.
And I was telling somebody the other day, it's like, how can you say one religion is worse than the other? You have no idea. It's not your job to judge that whose religion's right and whose politics is right. That's why I like doing podcasts. I can ask questions, and people think I'm on one side. They have no idea what side I'm on, because truly I might pick a side and say stuff that I have no idea what I'm talking about and just talk about it. And the opposite side.
Yeah, and that's great. That's closer. That's better than the vast majority of people choosing all the sides. That works.
I know. No, because you can see, I interviewed a guy yesterday, and he was talking about, he was in the Navy, and how when he went in '86, and how he was a Southern guy, black guy. He was from Oklahoma, and how bad it was. And all that stuff, which I had, those things I didn't deal with it. And people would say, because you're a white guy, but I grew up dirt road poor after my dad died of hepatitis leukemia. The military, I don't want to say prey on it, but military really goes after the poor side of people, because they don't have a lot of choices. And so they pick the military. Well, after my dad died, we moved to I truly was dirt poor. And people think just because your skin color is one way that you came from money. It doesn't mean that at all. There's more poor white people than ever. Just poor people in general.
Yep.
Just like there's homeless people of all nationalities.
Exactly. Yeah, we all got our opinion. We all have our bias, our conditioning. We all have assumptions and judgments of other individuals. We just have no clue. None.
So how do we get a clue?
Expand awareness.
It's easier said than done.
Well, it's kind of like the 4-minute mile. It was impossible. Someone ran it. Now a lot of people can run it. Kind of like the fish in water. No, I couldn't do it. No way. And I wouldn't even want to try. Just like the fish in water. The wise fish swimming through the water to the young fish says, "Hey boys, how's the water?" The two young fish say, "What's water?" That's consciousness. So the main thing here, if there's nothing pulled away from this conversation you and I have to your listeners, just for them to hear that word, to maybe Google it or ChatGPT it, to better understand what it is, because it impacts every single aspect of their life, physical and non-physical. Knowledge is structured in consciousness. Everything comes from consciousness, and all these incredibly intelligent scientists and PhDs and everyone's starting to finally understand what consciousness is, start to talk about it more, realizing the ignorance of actually believing the brain creates consciousness. As more and more people understand it's fundamental to our reality, they're going to want to know it. They're going to want to know it and understand it.
All right. So when I was in San Diego and as a young kid, and not young kid, I was 20s. We took a 40-foot yacht down from San Diego to Cabo San Lucas because the guy owned it. He was moving it down there. And on the way there, we stopped in Turtle Bay to get diesel. And Turtle Bay is a dirt roads. All the floors in the houses are dirt. They don't have any plumbing, all that. It's just really, how would you put it? Poor community, but they don't know that.
Mm-mm.
They're washing their cars. They're washing everything. They don't know they're poor. And again, they don't know that until they're aware, is basically what you're saying. Consciousness would tell them you could take that same person, bring him to Beverly Hills, show them how much what people have money wise, and then they could see the difference of what they have and don't have.
Yeah, that would completely change their perspective. Think of consciousness like you and I looking through this camera right now. The vast majority of the planet, and this is not an intelligent thing, because most intelligent people do not have clarity, or the world would be a lot different. If the cameras you and I are looking at, they're very clear. If there was grease on both of our cameras, you and I would have to completely guess what is on the other side. And that guessing would create ideals, beliefs. We would choose a side. Someone would tell us what's on the other side. We listen to our family, our friends, our teachers, our mentors, our professors, our college education. If there was grease, we would just simply have to guess. We got 8 billion people flying down the highway of consciousness with grease on the windshield. We're just guessing what's on the other side. That's why two incredibly educated individuals can come out of the same school and beat each other's throats because one's Republicans and one Democrat. That's why a Catholic and an atheist don't believe it's the same thing. That's why there's so much division and conflict on this planet, and so many sides choosing, is because we're just basically believing the world is the way it is based off of bias and conditioning. What our parents taught us, what our friends taught us, where we were raised, if we were raised in Utah or Texas or Japan or China or Russia or whatever. If we take someone in Utah born to a super Mormon family, but from day one they were adopted by a Japanese family, they'd speak fluent Japanese and be Buddhist. They wouldn't give a shit about being Mormon, and vice versa. But yet we will die for these ideas, for these beliefs that were just completely given to us by the people before us, because the beliefs were given to them before the people before them. We don't free think anymore. We don't really have access to the full picture. It's no different than the NASA study.
So are you saying that nobody free thinks? Or you're saying the mass majority of people do not free think?
The vast majority of people, but even the ones that still think they're free thinking are still choosing sides. Like the 85-year-old lady that's up the street, kind as can be, would never hurt a fly, super Catholic, believes that if you don't believe what she believes, you're going straight to hell. That's causing division. We got to get to the fundamental understanding of the sides we choose and the choices we choose that create the division and conflict. Because every time I have a conversation with different political parties, with different religious people, every one of them says the same thing. They're very polite. They care about their kids. They want to leave the world better for the next generation, right? They want to make the world better. Yet they don't understand that the people they think are ruining the world are the same people that think they're ruining the world. This constant division and conflict. You're a rare breed, man. You're talking about what you're talking about.
I see both sides. I can see both sides with thinking this is how it is, blah, blah, blah. I've always said that this is how it is. I mean, because it's just weird. I mean, here's a prime example. You would go, okay, if you know anything about how people but no longer want to be slaves and how all that stuff works, it was a certain party. The question is, how could you be part of that party if you know that and you're a different nationality or a different color than the people doing? I'm just saying that. So I started going down these things going, it's because they were always Democrats. And what I mean is their family was that way. It was all that kind of stuff. It's almost like, what's that called when you're with, captive and you start
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like that is what happened, and because they were so used to it for so long that they stayed there. And so for me, I'm always questioning everything. I don't trust people. I need to find out what their motive is, because everybody has a motive of why they're trying to do certain things.
Yeah. Yeah. And to your point of questioning everything, Catholics question everything. Atheists question everything. Republicans question everything. Democrats question everything. They don't realize the blind spots of their conditioning. They don't realize their bias. Everyone says the same thing to me time and time and time again. They're completely blind to how they see the world and the division, the conflict they create when they want to rid the world of it. Or
it's you.
The world would be different.
Or it's
the world would be a lot better.
Or it's you.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're telling everybody else it's them, but it's really could be you. That is the problem.
If you choose a side and think the other side's wrong, so are you. If you think you're right, so is the other side.
Yeah. It's that whole thing. I thought I made a mistake, but once I thought I did, but I was wrong. So. I never make a mistake. Once I thought I did, but I was wrong. So. But it's just the whole, and I understand what you're saying, but what you're saying is, again, I want to go back to the consciousness, because I think the biggest problem we're going to have is once AI understands us and understands certain things, and then the question will be is, when will it start lying to us?
When will it start lying to us?
Yeah.
What's the difference? Corporations lie to us. Politicians lie to us. Everyone lies to us.
I know. I understand that. I get that part of it. But now we're talking about something that we created. And now is, once it starts telling us certain things that it thinks we want to hear, and starts, getting us against each other even more, because it's found a way to get us all, it's that whole thing. It now became conscious of who it is and what it is, and it wants to, who knows? There's just so much going on.
It's just artificial intelligence just came from consciousness. It's not artificial. What's going to happen is it's just speeding up the process of the division that we already know. It's not going to take thousands or hundreds or dozens of years. It's going to be immediate. Look at the division AI's created. The people who enjoy it and the people who hate it. It was immediate. There's going to be a backlash on it.
Yeah. Well, I see it more where we're going to actually come together more. What I mean by that is, anytime you do any type of stuff, you're going to want to come and see that person to make sure it's who they really are. I'm in the mortgage. I do major dollar amount stuff. They're not going to trust me over the phone. They're not going to trust like they used to. Because now they don't know for sure if it's you. They won't trust the video that they see of you. They don't know if that was generated or if it was really you. They're going to want to come into the office, and it's almost like it's going to be back in the day when It's a Wonderful Life, and everybody came in to see the people and make sure that they knew who they were and shake their hands and all this stuff. I see that happening as a renaissance because of this. I
agree. The backlash is going to be a good thing.
Yeah. I saw that from the pandemic and everything else that was going on, because they were so tied up. People wanted to start coming in. But see, I do almost all my business on the phone and video. And I still see that eventually in a few more years, it's going to get to a point where like my kids, my son who's 22, 23, then below are going to go, because that's going to be the next greatest generation, because what they went through during the pandemic. And I see them going, okay, I don't trust any of this stuff. I need to make sure you are who you are.
Agreed. That's going to be a good thing, a great thing.
Yeah. So the question is how to take advantage of that. So that just means we'll have to have more automations and more stuff so that we can handle more volume with just the individuals, because you're not going to be it's not going to be the same. It's going to be totally different. And I don't know how that's going to work out.
It'll figure out a way.
Well, always is. The question is, did this happen to you or did this happen for you?
Yep. Depends on the person's perspective. Always.
That's how you should look at things. Because I've been in this business forever. I've never seen interest rates go up 5%. And that's all I'm going to say on that. And I was pissed for about a year, because I was like, I could not believe, just because somebody doesn't back you. divisions just because they didn't like the one before them. Let's get rid of everything and cause this inflation or this and that and all the different things that happen. It's like, come on, people, we've never had done this before this way. So
yeah, these are the extremes.
Yeah.
These are the extremes. And this is why all the chaos is happening, because consciousness on this planet is shifting so aggressively that it's bringing up everything that we didn't want to deal with for the last 40 years. That's why there's so much chaos. Mental health crisis. We've never had more money, more therapists, more drugs, more everything thrown at it. And it's actually, the stats are getting worse and worse and worse. If more understood in the mental health crisis, all the amazing people doing great work there, if they got to the root of the issue, which is consciousness clearing up, rather than clipping leaves off the tree, we could actually put some damage to that in a good way. All the burnout rates and the retention rates and the stress and the disengagement at work, if we get to the level of consciousness rather than the leaves of the tree, everything changes. That's where this position comes in. Politics, universities, mental health, companies, everything. This position starts to spread the awareness and expand everyone's understanding of what the real issue is, not the leaf of the tree, the root of it.
So I go back to my statement. It's you. That's the root of the problem, because you're bringing consciousness to those people. The fact that they don't know it. So how many? So this is going to be like a COO. This is going to be a CCO, like a CTO, yeah, CEO. All those different acronyms in a company.
Yeah, it'll be the secret weapon for all the executives and for all the employees. Yeah. Give them the full picture.
Does anybody have one yet?
I have about a half a dozen organizations that have me as their CCO. Yeah.
So you're a fractional CCO right now?
Currently, yes. But what I'm looking to do is, I know there's going to be a decent, if not large size company that hears about this and jumps on board, because it's going to be a competitive advantage they can't put into words.
So who would that be? Who needs help right now?
Who doesn't? Everybody.
No, the chip company that's getting bigger and bigger. That's needed for AI, and then all the other energy companies and all the other stuff. Because what they need to do one day for AI is normally would do thousands of homes for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have no idea.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's
none.
Yeah, and the problem is in California we can't have our we can't. We can either have our air conditioning or we can charge our EVs, but you can't do them both on the same day. Well, I didn't ask you where you located.
Utah.
Okay, that's right. That's where you already said that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm in California, so that's why I said that.
Yeah, I got the gist.
That's the biggest problem right there. The control that people want to have over other people. That goes back to what you're talking about. Religions, that was control. They all wanted control over their flocks so they can give them their tidings and all the different things. And it all stems, you say conscious, but I still think it's all about a controlling thing. The political parties want to control things and other things.
But why? My point is, yes, you're correct. What everyone's talking about with the issues of these organizations, these things in the past, things currently. Yes, you're 100% right. There's nothing wrong about what anyone says about this. But why? The level of consciousness on this planet is the best we can do right now.
Right. But what people I think are realizing is they're awakening to some of this going, okay, I understand.
Correct. But why? Because consciousness is shifting. Just like an 11-year-old who naturally turns 12 after 365 days, this planet is finally going through the shift it needs. It's taken 8 billion people up. So when we talk about awakening, it has nothing to do with the spiritual side or do with the meditations or all the bullshit we've done for the last 20 or 30 years, which I heavily participated in as well. Consciousness is that natural thing that takes the 11-year-old, turns at 12. Right now, humanity's never seen it, which allows people to awaken to the control and all the comments that you're making, which are 100% correct. It's bringing awareness to this. The CCO is kind of shepherding it in, taking people from one side of the river to the next, helping them understand why the mental health crisis is the way it is, why more people are awakening, why they're causing so much chaos in the world, because everyone has a fear of the unknown. The CCO is just saying this is simply what is necessary for the change to happen.
So is that like the awakening with Sydney Sweeney and her jeans, and then the people are so pissed off flipping her off on her billboards, where now it's okay to be attractive and good looking again, where for the longest time it wasn't, and people are just, okay, why is that? Let me question. I'm not there. So is that why you would have somebody in the company so that you could tell that person, don't hate that person because they have good genes?
I have no clue what you're talking about, but I assume it's some new trend going on.
Oh, you didn't see the Sydney Sweeney ad for jeans?
No.
Oh my God! All right, so there's a commercial where you know who Sydney Sweeney is, right? I don't even know who she really was until this attractive looking blonde, sounds like everybody in Utah, and she did a commercial about her, and it was American Eagle jeans, and she had jeans on, and she's very curvy in the right places and not too much and not over, just right. And and she's very attractive. And the whole commercial was about the jeans. And then she says she has good genes because she has blue eyes. Well, everybody took it like she was supposed to be a Hitler. I don't want to say a Hitler thing, but basically they're talking about eugenics and all this stuff. And then a lot of people are really pissed off, but the ones who are pissed off are the ones that've been controlling us for the last so many years about, the woke culture, as they call it, I guess. And so this commercial came out, and then another gene company came out with a plus size model about their genes, and that you just missed everything, So what I'm getting at is, for a while there, you couldn't talk about how we used to be when we were kids. Sidney Crawford, Pepsi, all those different things that used to be when we were younger. And then for about 3 years, you couldn't talk about. In 4 years, you realize, like, no, you can't really talk about. The woke crowd would cancel you. Now they're doing it, and they found that they make more money by poking the woke crowd because the stock of their company went through the roof about 30% because they poked the woke bear. And so now more people are doing it just to poke them so that they can see their stock prices go up.
Yeah, which for them is great. But again, these are all leaves of a tree. We're the most ignorant species on the planet. And I know what you're saying with all this stuff, but the fact this is like what people care about and what people talk about, just like the one thing I do know that has happened in the last month, because everyone was talking about it and drove me crazy, was that kiss cam thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Can I swear on this podcast?
Yeah, of course you can.
We're fucking idiots. We are fucking idiots, plain and simple. And the fact that this is the things that we're discussing as adults, that we still do selfies and we show people what we're eating, that we're on a vacation that some people can't afford, and that we're worried about this. And it's the sides. The woke to this, that. Someone goes with a plus size model, someone goes with a thin model, someone goes sides constantly. No wonder they control us. No wonder we have no clue what we're doing. No wonder it's getting worse. This is all we discuss. We've got to understand we are the ones creating the issue. We're nothing but a mirror to the people we despise.
I mean, incredible. The whole kiss cam, I don't really care, because if they're dumb enough to go to a concert, they should deal with their situation anyway. I've been divorced twice. I finally realized what that was, to actually be in a marriage for 20 years and actually, be able to be on the other side. I woke up about that part. But what I was getting at is, for the longest time, the woke culture was controlling us, and do certain things, and we'd be canceled from their jobs, do all this. And now they figured a way to poke that bear to where they can make money from it, but also get in your face. It's like, okay, it's okay to have Greg Gumfield on the Tonight Show. It's okay to have certain things like we used to do and get along. My whole thing is, I don't have to get along with you. I ask you questions, why you think the way you do. How come you did that? What is that? How come? The stuff I used to get in trouble next to my wife at a dinner party, she'd be squeezing my leg, telling me to shut up, I can do now, and ask those questions. And I don't care what you say. It's not to change anything. I just want to understand why you think the way you do. And that's the difference in me, because I've been doing this. I've been on radio since 2018, but the actual podcasting since 2020. And it's just different. Wow. I do 4 a week. I do 13 shows a week, but 4 of them are interview process of them. The rest of them are just either with a co-host and we're talking about what's going on. But interviewing people and finding out why they think the way they do and why they did what they did and why did they have failures, why they did this and all those different things. And so
that's a beautiful thing.
To know how people got to where they are and how we got there.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love it, man. That's a damn good thing to get stuff like this out into the open.
Yeah, but I mean, I still think, like you were just saying, and I do keep picking on you, but you're saying, well, you did. I'm like, but you are too.
Oh, you're saying I'm choosing the side?
Oh, yeah, because you're choosing. Yeah, you're saying you're conscious, but yeah, we're not.
I'm not saying no one's conscious. I'm just saying bringing awareness to it.
You're saying you're conscious. You're conscious, and we're not. That's what you're saying. You pick the side. You're saying we're not, and you are.
I'm just saying I don't have a dog in the fight.
Yeah, you do, because you're trying to get paid to be the COO, CCO. You have a dog in the fight. You're trying to. So don't say you don't have a dog in the fight.
Well, speaking of dogs, it's down.
Oh, mine's still sleeping. He sleeps all day, and then when I get out of here, we sit in my chair and whatever, and he whines on the couch because I'm not next to him. It's like, dude, you were with me for freaking 12 hours. Move on.
Exactly.
American bullies are the whiniest, neediest freaking dogs. So I love him. He's a great dog. Yeah, I found him on a trail, tied up to exercise equipment when I was exercising, and on the way back late at night, he was still there like an hour later with some people giving him food, and the same people were there originally, and so they're like, so I took him home, showered him, had him lay on this thing. He stayed there all night. Over the next 3 days, he came out of his shell, and he was a great, nicest dog. I always thought American bullies were mean dogs, and come to find out, so I DNA'd him after I cut his balls off, and he was 100% American bully. So,
wow.
Yeah. Could have been a stud. Oh, well, now he's just what are they called, those things when they used to do that back in the day?
The mutts. Not
the mutts, but I'm talking men when they take their balls away so they wouldn't,
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Just leave that one alone. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, Charlie, thanks for coming on the show. How do people find you to get more information about this?
I'd like for them to find me on LinkedIn. So I'll, for the show notes, I'll just give you the LinkedIn link.
I have the LinkedIn link.
Beautiful. Pop that in there.
It's on your podcast. I'll put it in the show. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Because on here it says your website, but it takes you to CJ Consciousness.
Yeah, that's LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just letting you know I have it. All right, I'll put that in there so people, it'll be on the podcast, all the stuff so I can figure out. Because if you know anything about this stuff, the more links you have that take you somewhere else, the more it gets liked. Yep. Everything.
Oh, there you go. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. Charlie, anything else you want to add before we go?
No, man, I appreciate the conversation, and I like the neutrality that you have.
Put that on the notes when you go back and say how horrible of a host I was.
Too late. Already done it.
Is there anything else I should have asked you today that I didn't ask you?
No, just I want more people to understand, to look into it to themselves. Consciousness. It impacts every aspect of your life. It's who you are physically and non-physically. Just for the hell of it, find out what it is. It's going to impact your life.
All right. So did you ever find out if you knew that guy in your past life?
No. I did some readings that they said I did know, but I can't recollect those memories.
Yeah, well, the question, because you're just not conscious yet.
Exactly. I don't have that tool.
All right, Charlie. Thanks for being on the show. I appreciate it.
All right, Matt. See ya. Thanks, buddy.